Hi, my name's Larry Butcher, and I'm known in the music business as country entertainer Buford. And this year of 1996, I was lucky to get to one of the bigger bucks in the state of Ohio, which you've seen on my wall. And we're going to give you the story about Big Buford and about my country music life and on this video that I'm selling, and I hope you like it. And we're going to talk about some of the things that's happened with the deer in my lifestyle. So one of the things I want to talk about is the Land of the Giants that Big Buford had made. It's a foundation that Dean Ziegler puts out for the Whitetail Hall of Fame, which I'm proud to be part of with my Big Buford deer that we had filmed here on the wall. And he's done me a great job, and I'm proud of that magazine because I've never had a deer like that which put me in that kind of position. But we're going to give you the story on Big Buford, and then the High Fishing Game was another magazine I was on the front of, and I thank them very much for putting me on their magazine, and that's something you don't get every day. And then I've talked to a man by the name of Gordon Whittington, and he put me on the front cover of North American Whitetail, which that was an honor to be part of the North American Whitetail magazine. That's an honor to get on that kind of a magazine. And then at Columbus at the Deer Expo, I talked to a man by the name of Randy Clark, which has a American Trophy magazine, which I got to write my own story in it, which was an honor because I'm a songwriter's reason. I believe I got to write my own song in there, story in there, and I'm proud that that happened. But today we're going to talk about the story of Big Buford. On the 6th day or the 5th day of hunting season in '96, I was out going to my deer stand. And when I got back to my stand, there was a fellow sitting in my stand, which kind of perturbed me, and I come back to the house. And I'd come back, and it was about 11 o'clock, and I'd sat and ate breakfast and talked to a buddy of mine. He asked me how come I wasn't deer hunting, and I told him what happened, and my girlfriend come back from town about 11:45, and she said, "Aren't you hunting?" And I'll give her the story, and I just told her I was going to kill the biggest buck I'd ever seen. I'll just go and get this 12-point buck I'd been watching. So I put my clothes back on. About 4:12, I left the house, and when I was going up through the field to where I was going to hunt at, I seen 4 hunters going over the hill. And that morning, I'd probably seen 45 hunters in this area. There's blazing orange everywhere. So I just run in the first set of honeysuckle I could find and cut me a hole about this big around and sat down on my bucket. I was there about an hour, and all of a sudden I heard this. Now, I never heard a noise like that before, so I didn't know what it was. The next thing I know, I heard 3 or 4 clumps. Well, I'd heard that sound before. Usually you hear 2 or 3 steps in the leaves or 2 or 3 rustles, and it's usually a deer. And then I heard this again, and all of a sudden there it was, a big set of horns, and I couldn't get a shot at it for all the limbs. So I waited a second or two. It seemed like forever, but I know it was a second or two, and the deer just bolted forward, and he stopped right in front of that hole. And that's when I come unglued. I swallowed, my cough dropped, my gun was shaking like 2 horns slapped together. The grapes was rattling off my Fruit Looms. My toenails even growed right out my shoes. I was shaking so bad. And then he snorted at me, and I shot him. But then the fear really hit me because he took off running. I figured he'd lay down by being that close, but all he did was just take off. And I busted him again about 40 feet away, and he went down over a hill, and I couldn't see him, so I run out of the honeysuckle and down through the thicket, and he was hung up on the grapevine up on his hind quarters, and I shot him between the shoulder blades, and he laid down. And I run up and sat down on him. I couldn't even write my name when I sat down on him. I was shaking so bad from the size of the deer I'd seen laying on the ground, because on the wall here, he's a nice beast, but in the woods he looked a lot bigger than what he is here on the wall. But that's how the story goes on Big Buford, and we're going to give you some of my lifestyle later on here on the video, me playing the guitar, and so like being with George Jones, Loretta Lynn, and all of them. We're going to put them on there, and we're going to give you a little bit of my hunting style of X-crossing and the groundhog style. So you hang in there, and we'll give you a little bit of each. So you hang in there with us, and I hope you enjoy this video.
This is the hole that I shot through right straight in front of that tree is where he was standing, which is approximately 20 feet. And we're standing in the honeysuckle in the briars where I was at. And this was an ultimate spot. It was an accident because I'd been kicked out of my deer stand and I was mad. And I just come in here, cut me a hole, and said I'm going to sit down. I don't care if I see a deer or not. And end up getting the biggest deer of my life. So this is where it happened at on Big Buford.
Here we are on one of the many buck paths in the area. but a very well-traveled one. And Buford in one of his very camouflaged spots. Very unnoticeable to the deer. Let's hear what Buford has to say about all this.
Yeah, well, I built this stand back about a month and a half before deer season come in because I figured that deer's got to get used to something being in a pine thicket where they travel a lot. And I put it about 10 feet off the pathway because I'm up about, oh, I'd say 25 feet in a pine tree, in a pine thicket. And deer are very wary of anything on the ground or a leaf moving in the bottom. So I moved myself up in this deer stand to hope to get a big deer come down the pathway, which is on the next crossing that I use. And later on in the video, we're going to get you some X crossing stories, and we'll show you the big Buford that I got. But this is one of my methods of deer hunting. I think it works real good in a pine thicket. You don't want to not get where you don't have it in there long enough. That's most of your deer hunters, they go in 2 or 3 days before the season, put in a big deer stand, and all it does is spook the deer off the path, and he'll change his ways because you're in his house and he'll walk away from something that's not likable to him. So hang in there with us on this video, and I hope you like the scenery we got because it's a mighty beautiful day. Yeah, Brian is coming down the path that the deer travel from a deer stand, and as we were talking about the X crossing from a deer stand that I was just on, we're going to show you just what from view we have from down at the ground that I see on the X crossing at 10 to 20 feet off my deer stand. I'll show you what it looks like. So, Brian, you just come with me, and we'll give these mighty fine people a shot of an X crossing.
We were on the path. This is the path leading up to Buford's X.
Now, here we are. We was talking from the deer stand exit. I said we was in here a month and a half before, and you can see it to my left. There's a mighty good crossing here. It goes right at Brian to his right, and one to my right to his left.
The path.
And you can see that right here in the ground there's a perfect X. They just make a beautiful X. Now, I found out that this is a mighty good spot because deer like to travel in X's, and it gives them 4 different directions to go in. And this is what I call an X hunting, and I think it's a mighty fine thing to use in deer hunting. Now we're going to talk to you about buck rubbing, where I figured a big buck's got long times on him. But here's a little pine tree that's back in the wilderness where we're at today, and here's the limbs that he broke off. I figured he was an 8 or 10 point because he got his horns locked in, and they was long times because I figured by him being long times when he turned his head from one side to the other, he'd break them limbs off. If he's a short time deer, they would slide out away from it. By being a flimsy like this, I figure he's a good 8, 10 inch times on him because the tree be doing this away from his horns while he's a rubbing, and in order to break them limbs off, he had to twist his head, and I figured that's a good 8, 10 point buck that done this. Now we're talking about in the wilderness. You know, a lot of people wonder how a deer or animals get water. Well, here's how educated animals are. A deer makes in his deer path, as you can see, he'll make him a dugout hole so when it rains it holds water. They seem to know where the ground will hold water, and they'll take their hooves and they'll dig this out so they can have a drink out in the wilderness and not have to always go to a creek to get a drink because they don't like to be seen. Deer are very human weary. The least little movement from a human, a deer spooks out. So, or at least a little noise, because if he don't understand it, he don't wait to see what it is. He just plain goes. And when they take off, they'll be 50 feet and they'll be looking back. Yeah, now here we are back a little farther back in the boonies. The wind's picked up a little bit, but we're still having fun filming this video for you. I think this is the better part of a deer hunting life, is just the experience of going out and finding you a spot and building your stand. Now here's a spot that I'd built for myself that I thought was a masterpiece that I got run out of the day that I got my big buck, the 24 point big Buford, they called him in the magazines. And a guy was standing in this stand when I come in. It took me a month and a half to set it up. I'd come out and I looked all around, picked my spots. A lot of buck rubbings around my neighborhood, and I found these 14 trees together, and I found that I could get in the middle of it, which is about a 4.5 foot circle, and I knowed it would break up my body prints. So I put a little camouflage on them, a cinch, And it was kind of an interesting deal. The man that was using my stand, I told him just give me my bucket and cushion, and I went home. And we're going to have the cameraman get up here where I was at and have him. I'm going to show you a few pathways that I've seen where the big bucket come through, because back at Christmas time, I'd been back in here rabbit hunting, and I'd seen a big deer that made Big Buford look bad, but he wasn't a non-typical. He was just a typical deer. And I think, from my perspective and point of view, this is what I've seen from my deer stand that we're going to show you. I'm going to make kind of a circle around the stand on a few of the paths that the deer. I'll show you some of the paths, so just kind of bear with us. You won't probably hear much voice talking, but we're just going to give you an idea of where the deer was circling around me, the reason I put this stand together. So just kind of bear with us on this, kind of watch the cameraman. He'll do the best he can, because this is rough terrain, it's thick, and we're going to show you some deer paths, how they creep through, and this is what they do.
Where he's walking there is he's on the trail. He's been following it around. As you can see, I got a great view of everything from here. He's done any position I could have shot a deer from. And he's walking the path that they're frequenting.
Right here is a big buck rubber. Right here. This here's the big buck rubber where he rubbed his horn on the tree. It's just the buck scraping. And he comes in here and stands, looks out across the open. And you can come work his way right back up through. Just made a teardrop. Masterpiece of life, this animal with here. He's a magnificent animal. And this is enjoyable. This is what you call the real life. I think most people would enjoy being in the wilderness, because the hillside's a lot different than the flatlands, and you find a lot of obstacles. And I think that's what deer hunting's about, being a woodsman.
Now we've come into a bed down area. That's where all your bigger bucks. We've seen plenty of track. There's an enormous amount of them in here. Buford got him a spot. He's sitting down here in some great cover. Let's see if we can find him. And you see him through the trees? See if I can get in up on this. He's got a shot below him. There's a creek that runs down there, which I'll take you over to. There he sits.
Now this is what I call a down-to-earth, down-to-home, close-to-ground deer hunting spot, because you can get down low like a groundhog. I call them a groundhog hunting because groundhogs are low to ground, and sometimes a human being standing up spooks deer. But I found out if you get in a squat position in behind a clump of dirt in the thicket, if you sit still, it's kind of like hunting a groundhog. When he comes out of a hole, he'll sit there and lay low at the edge of the hole, and he'll watch before he comes out. this is how he gets away from a lot of hunters. So I figure if a groundhog can hide from hunters, a hunter can hide from a deer this way, and you got a good view. It's right down to belly high, and if he comes through the thicket, you're only going to get 20 feet away shot anyway, so in the thicket, because there's so many obstacles. So I figured this is another good way to hunt deer, and I do this a lot too. This is fun to pretend like you're an animal in the woods and outsmart him. This is a masterpiece of hunting to me. Well, here we are at the end of our ride. This is after the 4 hours in the boonies, and I hope you enjoyed the video. Now we're going to go in and give you a little treat. So come on into my home, and we'll have a good time. Be all right, boy. That's the other side of Buford right there. What do you think of that, buddy? Been with George Jones and Sylvia, and Billy Crash Craddock, Mel McDaniel, Jack Green, all that good stuff. One of these days, we told you we'd come back after doing the outdoors. We'd get you a smiling retreat to the house. Well, this is what you call, after a nice day in the wilderness, this is what you call down home country here, and smiling. We'll give you a song on the video here. Whew! Man, oh man. Saw him with a Mossberg 12-gauge pump about 20 feet away. The story I'll tell is that the Fruit of Looms as the grapes was shaking off the vine. The teeth are shattered if it had any.
swallowed my cough drop. And toenails grew right out the end of my shoes. I was shaking so bad. They say you won't shake, but they're wrong. It's one of these deer can hurt your soul. At point blank, he's something else. He just, well, he's a big, big deer. One deer can turn his head all the way around behind him and look. They do that in the woods, but he come through the pine thicket, and I was sitting in honeysuckle. He would come through like that with his head low. I heard it was real calm. The wind quit blowing. I heard this, and all of a sudden, 3 or 4 clumps, and then the next thing I seen was this here big set of horns looked me in the face, and he raced up and snorted, and I shot him. Then the fear really hit me. My coverall started jumping because he took off running. And I've always heard a big deer getting away, and that's the first thing entered my mind. So I give him 2 more. Got hung up on a grapevine. Couldn't get out of it when I shot him the 3rd time, and he went to sleep and come home with me. The story is this one I think is calm before the storm, with a big bang and a small retreat to the house. And the rest of it's history. Hi, my name's Larry Butcher. I've been hunting ever since I was 9 years old. Didn't carry a gun till I was 16. My dad always let me walk, and he let me shoot once in a while. But I turned 18, I started hunting, and 48 now, and done caught one for a life of history. It's a long time coming. It didn't happen overnight. All righty, good job.
That silver ring upon your hat, it's not much, not a golden ridge band. It's just I'm a lonely, lonely man. I can see you in the morning. Your hair's already down. I'll never ever want to lose you, 'cause I just want your love around. That silver ring upon your hat, it's not much, not a golden ridge band. It's just I'm a lonely, lonely man. That silver ring upon your hat, it's not much, not a golden ridge band. It's just I'm a lonely, lonely man. I can find you in my life now, anywhere that I go. I'll never ever want to lose you, 'cause I just want your love around. That silver ring upon your hat, it's not much, not a golden ridge band. It's just I'm a lonely, lonely man. That silver ring upon your hat, it's not much, not a golden ridge band. It's just I'm a lonely, lonely man. I can find you anywhere now, anywhere that suits you, 'cause I just want your love around. That silver ring upon your hat, it's not much, not a golden ridge band. It's just I'm a lonely, lonely man.
Well, we told you we'd give you a treat on our video. We're not very good professionals. We just clipped it in here and out. But I thought you'd like to have a little bit of my life story and a story on Big Buford. Now I'm going to give you a little treat. I hope it is anyway. We're singing a song that I wrote called Frame My Heart in Stone. And I hope you like the video that you received from me. And I wish you the best in life. And everything goes good for you. And may the good Lord ride with you at all the time. And so here we go. We're going to give you a song. I'm going to frame my heart in stone to hide all the pain that it's known from all those memories. Look what love has done to me. I'm gonna frame my heart in stone. Now here I sit inside these four walls. The carpet is worn, walking the floor from all those memories. Look what you have done to me. I'm gonna frame my heart in stone. Now here I sit and now I'm alone. You broke in my heart, tore up my soul from all those memories. Look what love has done to me. I'm gonna frame my heart in stone. Now here I sit and now I'm alone. Tears on my face, my love's all gone from all those memories. Look what love has done to me. I'm gonna frame my heart in stone. I'm gonna frame my heart in stone to hide all the pain that it's known